Greetings and salutations, YouTube. This is your storytelling pal, Big Al, and I'm here to share some stories with you, hopefully cause some laughter. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good jazz. Couple of disclaimers. The stories that I'm telling are kind of sort of true. It's the best that I remember them in some cases. In other cases, I may have fudged a fact or two to make it a funnier story. But for the most part, it's true-ish. Second disclaimer. I'm only here to make you laugh. It's a little bit after 2 o'clock in the morning by now. And I've got my phone setting on a remote control, setting on top of a book, leaning up against a pack of Gatorade, and I'm talking to my phone, just because I hope some people can laugh at this. If you think my storytelling sucks, if you think I'm fat, if you think I'm ugly, fill in the blank, guess what? I don't care. Go watch someone else. But anyway, I hope everyone else who doesn't think that really does enjoy this, get some good laughs out of it. And so, on to the story. This is the funniest basketball play that I was ever involved in. And when I was 10 years old, like the 10 and 11-year-old, or the team for 10 and 11-year-olds that I was on at the local YMCA, we were playing in the championship game of the season. And so, big moment. My grandparents were there. My granddad had played college basketball. My uncle and aunt were there. My uncle had played junior college basketball. My parents were there, of course. Lots of our friends were there because, I had two other friends that went to elementary school with me that were on that team. And so a lot of our friends had come out. So, big occasion. I was normally mainly a defensive basketball was kind of my thing. I was not really an offensive threat, but our other point guard had fouled out, so I was in the game even though, we were on offense. The other team had just scored to bring them within 1 point of us. We were 1 point ahead. And so our coach called timeout. Our coach was a local, he was a high school kid that was on the varsity basketball team at the local high school. And so in the timeout, he told us, hey, there's under 10 seconds left. As soon as one of you gets the ball, you're probably going to get fouled and you're probably going to have to shoot free throws. So just be ready for that. And they're probably going to be in a full court press. So, that's what's going to be happening whenever you go to inbound the ball. Be really careful where you throw the ball and just be prepared because you're probably going to get fouled. And so we're like, okay, coach. And we come out of the timeout, and the other two guards that were playing in the backcourt with me were Gibby, our shooting guard, and Mikey, the main point guard. And so Gibby is the one inbounding the ball. And looking back on it with what I know now about basketball, something weird was going on. Because the other team, as opposed to the full court press that our coach told us to expect, they were in a 2-3 zone. And all 5 of their players were in between the basket and the free throw line. Their coach was having a hissy fit, probably because he wanted them in a full court press and they were playing the wrong defense. But, that was kind of what was going on their side of the ball. On our side of the ball, if, knowing what I know now, all we would have had to do was just inbound it and dribble it out for the last, there was 7 or 8 seconds left in the game, and we would have won. But things happened. So Gibby, apparently having seen other basketball players do this toward the end of the game, rather than throwing the ball to either Mikey or myself, he rolled the ball in. And not only did he not roll it up the middle of the court like you would be supposed to do if you were behind in that situation, because, of course, the clock doesn't start until an offensive player touches the ball in bounds, which is why you want to do that if you're behind. But if you're ahead, that's not of any value to you because you want the clock to run. But Gibby rolled it at an angle. So the ball was kind of headed up toward the corner between the mid-court stripe and the sideline. And Mikey had to run it down. So already this play is not starting off well for us, even though we don't realize it at the time. And so Gibby just decides, even though this was not one of our plays, he runs up the opposite sideline to the corner of the ball where he rolled, or to the corner of the court where he rolled the ball. So Gibby and Mike are running up opposite sides of the court at this point. And I don't know why I did this. It was just kind of one of those things. I turned my back to our basket and I start running backwards up the very middle of the court. And so Mikey finally catches up to the ball and stops with it. And then, he stopped the ball, picked it up, dribbled a couple of times, and then stops before the half-court line. And it was like he suddenly panicked because he was thinking that he had to get it over the line, but now he's picked up his dribble. And so now he's looking for someone to pass to. And if I had been more aware, I would have, had my hands up for him to pass the ball to me, but I was still running backwards up the middle of the court for some strange reason. So Gibby, he finally is like, okay, he claps his hand and, he's like, throw me the ball or, whatever. And the other team is still sitting there in that 2-3 zone in the lane under our basket with our two post players standing in between the five of them. So that's not going well either. And so Mikey rears back and throws this two-handed overhead soccer pass all the way across the court towards Gibby. And I don't know why, but I saw the ball floating through the air. And I just kind of forgot that we were on offense. And so I grabbed the ball out of the air and I start to run with it towards the other team's basket, which I'm not thinking is the other team's basket. And I think I hear my coach yelling, "Go, go, go, go." And so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a big moment. I'm going to score and everything. For those of you at home, whenever I take a drink of my refreshing cold beverage, that's a good time for you to also take a drink of your refreshing cold beverage of choice. So I run down the middle of the court now with the ball. And it's just me all by myself, and I shoot a layup, and it goes in. And I turn around, and I'm celebrating, because I'm like, we won, which we would have won anyway if I had not done this, or if I'd done this in our own goal. But instead, I scored the winning basket for the other team in the championship game. And so I turn around and I'm looking at this scene and the whole gym has just gone silent. And I look at my coach and he's laying down and he's got one hand clutching his face like this and he's just hammer fisting the court with the other hand. And my teammates are all looking at me like, what did you do? And I'm just like, and so, yeah, that was the funniest play that I've ever been involved in on a basketball court. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gave you some laughs. Hope you have a good one. I'm out.